ya maji.
Okay.
Sasa ikitupa inaenda kwa hii dreni kubwa, inateremka na huko chini.
Hivyo au ile
wale Pest wanatumia method gani irrigate?
hiyo type of method ya irrigate ya kuleta maji na kutoa inaita aje?
This is just fallow irrigation. And iri canals, lakini ikishaingia hapa it is fallow, inaenda huko, but they use those channels to bring water here. Now harvesting, you said mkitaka kutoa kwa shamba.
Tukitaka kutoa kwa shamba, kutoa na mashine. Inaitwa harvest.
Combine harvester.
Combine harvester.
Do you normally hire ama mko na yenu?
Hapana. Ziko huku za watu. Sasa wewe ukitaka ku harvest, unaenda unaongea na yeye, unamwambia nataka ku harvest, anakuja anakulipisha, anaingia na ku harvest, unamlipa, anaenda.
Na hiyo mchele sasa after harvesting amekupatia mchele iko na uchafu yote. What is the process now? Utengeneze
iwe mchele.
Iwe mchele.
Inaenda kwa machine.
Mnapima?
Ikienda sasa, ikiwa yako mchele sasa una harvest. Ikienda nyumbani unaenda unaanika. Ukikataa kuanika inaoza. Inaoza. Sasa unaanika, inakauka vizuri.
Ikiwa na maganda.
Sasa unaweka kwa mangunia, unaweka kwa nyumba. Sasa ile time unataka kuuza ama kushiaga, unaanika tena, unapeleka kwa mashine. Inashiagiwa, ndio unaona ikiwa white. Inatolewa ile. Hapa kuna shamba. Ile shamba iko na mchele pale.
Kuni mbali. Alafu sasa umepeleka kwa mashine, imetolea hiyo ngozi.
Inatoa hiyo ngozi.
Imekauka.
Ikikauka ndio
sasa kwa mashine. Unajuaje hii ni mchele grade 1, hii ni grade 2, hii ni grade 3 kuendelea?
Inajulikana juu kitoka pale kwa mashini, grade 1 inatokanga kama haijafujika. Sasa grade 2 ni yenye inafujika. Na kuna kingine kala kama fujika kabisa kanaitwa broken.
Kwa hivyo they are grade, sasa kwa hivyo grade 1 ni ile ambayo iko full.
Iko full, haijafujika hata.
Na mna separate aje ile imevunjika inaenda kando, ile ambayo iko full?
Mashini ina separate. Mashini ina separate. Inatoa hii mzima na hii imefujika, kuna mahali inatokea.
Haiwezi tokea mahali pamoja. Okay.
Alafu nilikuwa nauliza at any point haya maji yameikosa kuwa huko. Wakati
hapa huwa inakuwa dry.
Maji imekuwa dry ama kuna maji?
Kuna siku kuna kuanga dry.
So what happens to the rice when it's dry? Nao pia inakufa.
Inakaa. Unaona ikiweka hivyo kwa matope hata kukauke. Iwezi kauka.
Matope iko na maji.
Hata hii maji kikauka, matope bado huko chini, sikuko na nini huko chini. Sasa inakaa hivyo tu mpaka ile maji itakuja.
Okay, wanauliza ni vitu gani ambayo inawasumbua? Wadudu.
Zenye nilikuwa naonyesha pale ziko wapi zile tunaziita dino. Unaona hii kwanza ni baya hii. Unaona ukipanda kama saa hii.
Tuonyeshe huo mdudu. Huyu ni mdudu. Ndio. Inakaa ya ile snail ya kwetu.
Kwa hivyo wanasema hii ndio pest ambayo inakula rice. Na inakula rice huko chini ama inakula huko juu?
Sasa unaona ukipanda hivyo, ukatae kutoa hii maji. Iwe imeshika kama hakuna maji, kama kwenye unaona kuna pando saa hii. Ukiwa na maji hii, upande leo, kesho na kesho kuta utapata hakuna. Inakata, inakula, inakata, kukata. Unapata maji chini. Inakulanga hii.
Kwa hivyo ukishamaliza kupanda, you drain, maji inatoka.
Hiyo mchele ishike kama ni matope pekee, haina maji.
Unaona pale.
Na apart from hii, kuna wadudu wengine wanaharibu. Kama gani?
Kama ile ya white mwewe.
Kuna ndege.
Na
quailbats. And kuna dawa yoyote ambayo inaua hawa? Mnanyunyuzia?
Ataingia huko ndani. So hata ndio sio mrefu ashika.
Kuna dawa mna spray ya kuua hii?
Hata ya kuua hizi iko inaitwa dudu. Sasa unaona kama ule venye amepanda, alispray asubuhi kama ama usiku jioni, jana jioni. Alispray. Sasa apande. Sasa sikisipuliwa sinaenda huko na chini na huko na
wanakufa.
Na wengine wanateremka chini kabisa. Sasa unatoa maji, mzele ikishika sasa unaweka maji. Haitakuliwa.
Kidogo ni comment hapo. Amesema ukidrain maji, you control the pest.
The
That
pest.
one we call it the culture
Listen.
method. That's what I'm talking. When they drain water to control pests, that's what you call a cultural method of controlling pests. We have 3 methods of controlling pests. We have biological, ile ya kutumia ndege. We have a chemical, yenye amesema we have some pesticides, and also amesema about the draining of water, which is a cultural method of controlling what you call the pest in bad rice. And also, some of you may ask some questions. Mbona bad rice inamea kwa maji, but maize cannot thrive well in where we have water? The reason is that this is what you call an aquatic plant. It has what you call undeveloped root system, the xylem and the phloem tissues. I think we have taught that one, which means the xylem does not absorb a lot of water like in the maize. Okay?
Any question?
I was asking, huyu alianza akisema hili shamba ni la government ama ni la mtu binafsi? Hili shamba ni la mtu.
Ni ya serikali lakini allocated to people.
Ni kwa serikali lakini kila mtu ako na shamba yake.
So
Hatuna title.
hamna title.
It's a scheme. It's a scheme.
So ukiuza rice, do you give tax to the government? Ama unaenda nao tu unauza?
Nini yako si hakuna kitu anapewa hapo.
Ile utalipa
Ni maji tu tunalipanga. Huwezi pata bila kulipa maji. Ukipata bila kulipa maji unakuta unashikwa na peleko ndani. Sasa maji ndio tunalipa tu.
Alafu community hapa around hapa mmependa vitaji na hii kupanda hii rice sasa. Yaani imewapatia faida gani?
Mchele.
Kama community.
Mchele uko na manufaa gani? One, wanapata capital pesa. Income. Ingine ina create employment opportunities. Kuna watu wanafanya kazi hapa. As they are creating employment opportunities. At the same time, it leads to development of this center. Kwa sababu center kama ile kuna watu wanakaa huko.
Kila mtu hapa anatoka na 500.
Are we together? It has led to improvement of infrastructure. Angalia hiyo road vile imetengenezwa vizuri. To ensure that hii mazao imechukuliwa wapi? Market. It means that has led to improvement of the infrastructure, the roads, schools around, and even what you call when you talk about infrastructure, you talk about schools, roads, and hospitals. Hapa karibu unapata kuna hospitali because we have many workers who are just doing farming here. Are we together? Wanafanya workers. It means that is improvement of our infrastructure you're talking about.
Urbanization, the growth of Wanguru town, because of the setting up of this irrigation scheme. And maybe listen, I want to give you a brief history of this scheme. Way back in 1952, the colonial government declared a state of emergency in Kenya that made all those who are behind the Mau Mau, mzungu aende Ulaya Mwafrika apate uhuru. That is a war that was fought in Kenya for the freedom of this country. And the Mau Mau fighters were staying in the Mau forest. And then because of that, the colonial government ensured that all those people that were staying around the Mau forest were evacuated and they were brought here. This place, the people here do not come from one community. It is a cosmopolitan settlement scheme. It was set up way back in 1954, before independence of Kenya. And when those people were evacuated from around Mau Forest, they were brought and given land here. The land belongs to the government. You are given the piece of land so that you, as you have been told, they pay for the water. So that's why they are here. All communities are here. We have the Kikuyu, the Meru, the Embu, the Kamba, all those that were staying around. So it's a settlement scheme. A settlement scheme has got people from all the communities. If you are able to have the land, you are given the opportunity, then you do it. And then, after that, why were they evacuated from around Mau Forest? They were supplying food to the Mau Mau fighters. So the government did not want any link between the local people and the people who are fighting for the freedom of Kenya. So all those who are surrounding were evacuated and they were brought here. So the first settlement scheme that was set up in Kenya before independence 1954. Where? Irrigation? Hill. We have others. The other time when you were in grade 7, we took you to Perekera, that is found in Baringo. We have that one at Ahero. We went to Kisumu the other day. It's also. So this is the biggest irrigation scheme in Kenya for rice. It produces Bishori rice. However, the production of all this rice that is coming from here does not satisfy the needs of Kenyans. We still have to rely on other countries. We have a lot of rice that is being imported from Egypt. We have from Pakistan. We have rice from Israel. We still have from Uganda, Tanzania. So there are so many mouths in Kenya that need rice. And the type of rice that is produced here is known as Pishori. Pishori kwenda supermarket. Have you ever seen Pishori? Yes. This is the origin. This is what you are seeing here. And then in social studies, we have a topic that is the first unit. That was in 844. As they plant this rice, it emits a gas known as methane that is harmful to the ozone layer. When it goes to the atmosphere, it is harmful to the ozone layer. Ozone layer is the layer up there that is in between the atmosphere and the sky. That once it's done away with, you'll have the overheating of the environment. That's why we have the acid rain, because the ozone layer has been done away with, and we have a lot of heat.
Like now?
Like now is burning there. Yes. Oh.
Are you getting Mr. Soro?
Did you understand what I said about the state of emergency? Well, the governor in Kenya by that time was Sir Avran Baring, 1952. We had other governors in Kenya, but he's the one who declared a state of emergency. A state of emergency is where you don't move from where you are. Like if you are found here, you don't move from here to where we have come from. You stay within the place where you are. You don't move, because as you are moving, you'll be communicating and doing other things. So no movement. It's like during the time for Corona. Do you know what happened? What was declared? Quarantine. No movement from one place to another. But still people are moving at night and going to where they are not supposed to. You are supposed to have the masks. So during that time when the colonial government declared a state of emergency, the people around the Mau Forest were evacuated. And Africans were staying in the reserve places. There are special places where all the Africans were put together.
Bantustans.
And while they were there, the colonial people, the colonials used to get them and take them to supply labor. Like this piece of land that you are seeing here, it belonged to one or two colonial people, the white settlers who were farmers. Remember where we have come from at Nanyuki, you saw very big pieces of land. All those were owned by the colonialists. These places were known as the White Highlands. They were occupied by the white people. Like Egerton, the whole of that land was occupied by Lord Egerton, who was a European. And he owned the whole of that piece of land. He was doing his farming. And as we are moving, you saw the Kenya-Uganda Railway. Did you see it? Yes. Why did it go there? It had to ensure that the products from the interior of Kenya were ferried to the coast and taken to the European countries, that's Britain, which was colonizing Kenya, to go and supply raw materials for the industries. So what was being gotten from Nanyuki, which is the main economic activity there? I told those who are in Itirio Bus and St. Mary's that Nanyuki is the same height above sea level as Meru. From you start counting the height above sea level from Mombasa. Mombasa at the coast is 0. When you go to Mount Kenya, which is 5,199 meters above sea level, the highest mountain in Kenya, and the second highest in Africa. The highest is Kilimanjaro. So you start counting from 0 at the coast. By the time you reach the highest peak, the Mount Kenya has got 3 peaks: Lenana, Patian, and Nelion. So where you are saying going back to, you'll be able to see it. That's got 3 peaks. So you don't start counting the height of Mount Kenya from the foot, which is Nanyuki and Meru. You start from the coast. By the time you reach the highest, that's 5,199. Lakini ukianzia Nanyuki haitafika hiyo 5,199.
Supplemented.
Yes.
Boys, are you getting me? When we talk about the reserve, when the Europeans came, they took all the fertile lands. They pushed Africans to reserves. Reserves means the places which were not productive. They took all the productive places. Are you getting me? And they called them White Highlands. And the Africans were put in a state where they could not get good food or anything. So they were forced to come back to the White Highlands to come and work to get food for their children. Unapata vizuri? So, in English also, when you use the word reserve, it does not fit what you say.
We use set aside.
We call it rural areas or upcountry. Reserve means a place which is not productive, where you put people to come to you to look for a job so that you can pay them so that they can survive. Tuko sawa? Yes.
Okay. There are around 2 forms of reserve. The one for Africans, African native reserve. Land set aside for the forest, forest reserve. Land set aside for the animals, game reserves and national parks. Okay? Yes, sir. So otherwise, yes.